Ooh, tribe! So, this is raw research, but it's factually concise in its tracing through genetic drift and phenotypic divergence. I'll finalize my research and publish my paper in the next few months. But honestly, I just couldn't resist sharing this with my intellectual types who will understand the complex nature of this raw research. This trail maps how phenotypic anomalies like albinism may have drifted from South Indian communities to Northern Europe, supported by genetic markers and migration patterns. Tamil Nadu origins. Pullan family, 10 albino siblings, fully Indian. Parvez family, 8 albino siblings of Pakistani descent. Traits include pale skin, light eyes, and blonde hair. Visually European, but genetically South Asian. Genetic markers. So, the migration path begins with the dolmen builders moving toward the Kerala coast. Then, there's a seafaring expansion that reaches Arabia and Central Asia. Over time, admixture introduces Indo-European lineages into the mix. And with a northern drift, pale traits become fixed in those low UV climates. This is the scroll trail, where, biology meets myth, and migration actually becomes memory. Let's trace the genetic drift trail starting from Tamil Nadu's phenotypic anomalies all the way to the pale-skinned populations of Northern Europe, and see how these isolated traits might have echoed across entire continents. Genetic drift. Yeah, that's the mechanism behind this whole trail. It's basically the random fluctuation of allele frequencies in a population over generations. This process is especially powerful in small, isolated groups where, rare traits can actually become dominant. Over time, that can lead to the fixation of phenotypic anomalies like albinism, pale skin, or even light eyes. So let's talk about some fascinating phenotypic outliers. In Delhi, for example, there's the Pullan family with 10 albino siblings who are fully Indian, yet they're often visually mistaken for Europeans. Similarly, the Parvez family in the UK has 8 albino siblings of Pakistani descent who are genetically South Asian. Now, if we look at HLA studies, Tamil Nadu's endogamous groups like the Kalars and Vaniers show some unique haplotypes with global affinities. And when we examine ALU insertions and mitochondrial DNA, genetic markers in Tamil Nadu populations reveal high heterozygosity, which suggests ancient diversity and a lot of genetic drift. The drift pathway moves from isolation to expansion, shaping genetic diversity in really interesting ways. Isolation, especially among endogamous groups in Tamil Nadu, helps preserve rare traits through generations of intermarriage and social separation. It's pretty remarkable how these social practices can influence genetics over time. Fixation, traits like albinism or pale pigmentation, can actually become common in small communities. Migration. Coastal access via Kerala enables maritime expansion toward Arabia and Central Asia. Admixture, genetic traits mix with Indo-European lineages during migration waves. So, in northern regions, pale traits actually become advantageous because of the lower levels of UV radiation. Over time, this leads to natural selection favoring those traits, and, they're spread throughout Europe. So let's talk about genetic parallels in Europe. Genes like SLC24A5 and SLC45A2, which are linked to light skin in Europeans, are actually found in South Asian populations too. And genes like OCA2 and HERC2, which influence eye color, show shared mutations between South Asia and Northern Europe. It's interesting, right? Even MC1R variants, those alleles for red hair and fair skin, are more variable in Europeans, but the ancestral versions can actually be traced back to South Asia. If we trace the trail from the dolmen circles of Tamil Nadu all the way to the Scandinavian fjords, we see a fascinating genetic overlay along the route. Genes like SLC24A5, OCA2, and even HLA markers travel this path, connecting distant populations through shared heritage. This theory is grounded in actual fact-based information about migration, genetic drift, and phenotypic divergence. By using test groups that tether the original ancestral memory of the condition, drift, and phenotypic evolution, we can really see how these patterns emerged over time. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.